This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Hope you enjoyed your weekend so far. Wanted to come with a quick discussion on today's title, Crossroads in Chaos. Had the opportunity to speak with Aaron Goldstein, who's a partner at the international law firm Dorsey and Whitney in its labor and employment group. He's been flooded with calls from companies asking about the particular issue regarding vaccine mandates and religious exemptions and how these requests should be handled in the workplace. And he's given us some advice on the guidelines that were recently released this week. So, as deadlines for COVID vaccine inch closer for employers and employees, companies are looking for extensively at religious exemption requests and how to navigate them when it comes to receiving the vaccine. So, in the new guideline, um, with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, referenced as the EEOC, which released additional guidelines for employees working their way through these requests. So in the new guidance, the EEOC makes clear that employees need not use magic words or specifically invoke Title VII to qualify for a religious exemption to COVID-19 vaccine mandate. However, employees do need to notify the employer that there's a conflict between their, sincerely held religious beliefs and the employer's COVID-19 vaccine requirement, determining whether employees' religious belief is sincerely held without running, afoul of Title VII. And it has been proven to be difficult in some instances, with many employees reluctant to question the sincerity of the employees' religious beliefs for fear of, being the next offended in a test lawsuit. So this reluctance is based, at least in part, on the EEOC's continued guidance that generally under Title VII, an employer should assume that a request for a religious accommodation is based sincerely on their held religious beliefs. So, what options then do employers have for rooting out religious beliefs that are not sincerely held? So, according to these new guidelines, employers are entitled to assess an employee's credibility, and factors that might influence credibility include the following: whether the employee has acted in a manner inconsistent with the professed belief, whether the accommodation sought is particularly desirable benefit that is likely to be sought for non-religious reasons, whether the timing of the request renders it suspect, whether the employer otherwise has reason to believe the accommodation is not sought for religious reasons. So, in determining whether employees have acted in a manner inconsistent with their professed belief, some employers are asking employees about other vaccines that they have taken or refused, as well as medications that were developed using the same or similar methods as some COVID vaccines. So, in making these inquiries, however, employers must remember that strict adherence is required, and a minor slip up here and there will not automatically disqualify the employee from an exemption. So, the timing of the request may also be telling, because many employers have set deadlines by which employees are to receive the first, COVID-19 vaccine dose or submit a request for an exemption. In those circumstances, employers are giving employees plenty of time to submit that exemption request, but for the benefit of the employer and the employee. So employers might have an objective basis to question the sincerity of a request submitted at the last minute. And likewise, an employee who submits a request for medical exemption and then later submits a request for religious exemption after the denial of the first request will likely raise red flags. So employers should be careful to weigh the timing of a request for religious exemption as one factor. Suspicious timing alone is usually not enough to support denying a request for said exemption. So the updated guidance also reiterates that the exemption request cannot be based on social, political, economic views, or personal preferences, though employees often commingle religious exemption requests with these issues, creating additional headaches for employees. Though Title VII does not protect social, political, or economical or personal preferences, the state of Texas is currently under the governor's mandate that requires employers to grant exemption based on those reasons. So whether the Texas governor's mandate will be enforceable remains to be seen. And perhaps the most important piece of the updated guidance is that employers should evaluate religious objections on an individual basis. In other words, there's no one size fits all approach to religious exemptions. At the end of the day, employers need to ensure that they can establish a record of thoughtful consideration on each individual request. Doing so will help minimize the risk of private litigation from employees or adverse consequences from federal agencies to whom employers contract. And this goes totally into what's happening in New York because guess what? With more than 26,000 New York City workers, they basically missed the vaccine mandate deadline. Enforcement is set to begin on Monday. So, more than 26,000 New York City government employees, including firefighters, police officers, sanitation workers, flouted the deadline for outgoing Mayor Bill de Blasio's vaccine mandate. The workers had until the Friday at 5 p.m. to get the shot and claim a $500 bonus. On Monday, the unvaccinated city workers will be sent home without pay, potentially jeopardizing response times by first responders and interrupting other city services. The new figures show 89% of city workers have taken at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, with 19,000 city workers inoculated since the mayor announced the vaccine mandate and eliminated the alternative for weekly testing on October 20th. So the New York City carries a public workforce of about just shy of 400,000 people, and about 159,000 are under the new mandate. So while 30 agencies have vaccination rates of above 90%, the NYPD, the New York Fire Department, Emergency Medical Services, and Department of Sanitation continue to hover around 85%. Still, they've been marked improvements in some agencies, according to the data. New York City vaccination rates rose to 84% on Friday, up from 79% the day prior. FDNY's rate increased from 77% and that was from to 77% from 69%. The sanitation department went from 67% to 77%. The Department of Correction, which is exempt from the mandate until December, continues to have the lowest vaccination rate at 54%. So the mayor, you know, went to Twitter to praise city workers, saying they won't stop until the job's done. But even with greater participation, labor unions continue to balk at the mandate. Notably, fire, unions have staged numerous rallies opposing the mandate over the past week. Figures show that while 84% of FDNY employees have abided by the mandate, more than 4,000 of them might not be able to come to work on next Monday. About 8,300 NYPD employees remain unvaccinated. The police department held a retirement drive on Friday and Saturday for employees who didn't want to take vaccines. So there's an unspecified number of firefighters that have since gone on medical leave since the mandate began, temporarily knocking out service at a number of fire companies, according to the FDNY. Manhattan Community Board 12 sent out an email on Friday to residents warning of possible firehouse closures that might occur. So, in the email reads, as early as this weekend, you may see firehouses closed due to workforce shortages. This will result in longer response times to fires and medical emergencies. Um, the FDNY maintains no firehouses have been closed. In a statement, um, the FDNY Commissioner Daniel Nigro said, the excessive sick leave by a group of our firefighters because of their anger at the vaccine mandate for all city employees is unacceptable, contrary to their oaths to serve, and may endanger the lives of New Yorkers. Despite these actions, some of the department will continue to respond to all calls to help that come our way. So the impact is apparent for residents experiencing slow trash pickups and all the above. So we're waiting with bated breath on what's going to happen this upcoming starting this Monday. This is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show are latenightparents.com. And before I get out of here, there's a few questions in the comment section. So let's go through the comment section real quick. Helga, good morning. Heavenly Dew, good morning. Eric Jackson, good morning. How you doing, bro? Heavenly Dew says, I'm my own employer. Let's see. Let me be quiet. I forget this is a podcast style. Carlinda joins in. Carlinda, how you doing? So what's your personal take on the matter? From Eric Jackson, who's chiming in. My personal take on the matter is I took the vax because of my own personal reasons. And I think, is it a personal issue? Yes, it's a personal issue. Do some of these companies put you between a rock and a hard place? Yes, they do. You have to make that decision whether, you feel a certain way in regards to taking this or not taking it. But if it's affecting how you are able to survive financially, that's another thing. For me, it was really simple with with family and all the above. I know, it's a case by case situation. The religious exemptions is another thing that has come up. Um, I don't know. It's as we stated, it's a case by case issue, but with what's best for you. So I'll leave it there because I think nowadays we have too many people that are preaching about whether or not you should do something or you shouldn't do something, or something should be shoved down your throat or not. Um, it's your decision. It's your decision. But there are outside factors that are influencing that decision. Now, if you are, financially solvent and don't need to, take this vaccine and, can get around everything that you can get around, meaning if you're in New York City and or you're in a state that is enforcing it, then no restaurants, no anything. Frida, how you doing? Um, but if you can't, and if you're depending on the finances of your job, like a large percentage of people are, then you're going to take the vaccine. I won't get into the political footballs that have been thrown around here and thrown around on various social media platforms. If you are at that situation, like Heavenly Do, where you're your own employer, then you get to make your own decision. If not, then it's going to get influenced on you. I will leave it there. We're at the 17-minute mark. Heavenly Do, this is podcast style, but you're always welcome to come on up and talk or all the above. And with that, we're out. Ways to follow the show at Late Night Parents, latenightparents.com. Thank you to the people who are in the comments field and